Hello, good evening. It's me again. Yes, I am reloading ammunition cartridges because these are 300 blackout cartridges with a 308 round. I am reloading 300 blackout. But my video today has nothing to do with that. Well, partly it does. For the last so many weeks, I received a question with regards to a firearm purchase, right? Um, and the most common question, if it's a firearm purchase, is that uh, actually a classmate of mine from back home in high school asked me that same question. So I just decided to just create a video here. It will answer questions that are totally related to each other for 5 or 7 people that have asked me the same question. So my high school buddy had asked me, "Okay, Marcus, what do you suggest?" He showed me a picture of a bolt action rifle from Cabela's. You think this should be a proper, a first time purchase for a rifle? Oh wow! Are you hunting? What's the purpose of the purchase? Well, it took him a while to answer the questions after I gave him an enumerated amount of possible answers. Is it for home defense? Is it for hunting? Is it for going to the range? Just shooting a couple of hundred rounds a week? Stuff like that. And he pretty much said, well, kind of all of the above. So that being said, he hasn't really made a determined effort yet to really, what the purpose of the firearm is, right? And most of the case, uh, that's okay. Most of us wants to do the purchase on the firearm that is kind of do it all, jack of all trades, right? That's fine with me. Um, so I asked him next question I asked him was, is this your first firearm purpose? No, he owns a shotgun. Okay. How often do you shoot? Well, not much. Right. Okay. So that kind of narrows it down. He doesn't want. Oh, what's going on with this guy? Right? Why is it jamming? Oh, there's another bullet in there. Okay, that ain't it. So I gave him a few suggestions, and I kind of told him, "Hey, look, if this is the first rifle that you are going to be purchasing, how often are you going to be shooting?" I personally shoot about 200, 300 rounds a week. And he says, well, once a month would be okay. So I kind of figured out what he wanted to do. Okay, self-defense, home defense, that's fine. But I told him, look, you're going to buy a firearm. Make sure you learn the intricacies of the system itself, ergonomics, operations. Basically, go out and shoot. Well, he mentioned that he is shooting. So after all of that, I told him, hey, why not just, he's in a state in the East Coast that allows him to purchase this particular firearm, an AR, right? Because why? Why an AR instead of a shotgun, or instead of a pistol, or instead of a bolt action rifle? Why? Because an AR is pretty much a Western powers primary firearm. It's very common. You know, uh, for the moment, forget about the term AR. A lot of folks and a lot of folks are not familiar when people think that AR means assault rifle. Well, not really. Uh, AR is basically a short acronym for an Armalite rifle. Okay, so that's besides the point. So, what are we looking at? The reason why, again, I wanted him to get an AR is because it's very common. Yeah, 40 out of 50 states allows an AR purchase with a minimum barrel length of 16 inches, and that's legal. No. Secondly, ammunition is plentiful. 22.223 caliber 5.56 millimeter a bullet, which is like this guy right here. Okay, that is a 223.556 bullet. Now what I'm reloading are 308s. This is a little bit larger, as you can see. Okay, that's for 300 blackout. And they're very common, which means if they're common, they're relatively cheaper. All right. So that being said, now you have a default gun, which almost every American that owns a particular rifle owns. Ammunition that is plentiful. Why? It is also being used by our military and most NATO and Western alliances, all right, that are allied with the United States. So that's the commonality feature of... Okay, what's wrong here, buddy? There we go. I have to make sure that my primer is fitting on the bottom of the cartridge, the brass cartridge. That's what I'm looking at. So that being said, I don't have 223.556 ammunition right now because that's not what I'm reloading. But the commonality features is what's making the viability of a 223.556 cartridge more practical to shoot out of a firearm that shoots that particular cartridge, right? So an AR-15, and there are dozens and dozens of companies that manufactures those. Now, next question he asked me, okay, what would be a good brand? Well, you know what? If it's just going to be one particular rifle that you're going to buy, stick with a common brand. Just like any purchase, you get what you pay for. It's like buying a car. Buying a Mercedes is not cheap, but you also get something out of that brand. Buying a Lexus isn't cheap, but you also get something nice about that brand, right? I in particular own a few ARs. Some of them are relatively cheap, some of them are expensive, but I understand the difference, okay? The nuances involved. So when you look into these rifles, when you look into these brands, they pretty much do the same thing, right? Some of them just looks nicer. Some of them are more durable. Now, when you talk about durability, means it fires thousands and thousands of rounds before you have to change the barrel or before a particular item, part, breaks down. Now, some of these cheaper models and cheaper brands will last you a few hundred rounds. Maybe sometimes that would be good enough for you, right? So look into your shooting habits. If you're the kind of guy that shoots every week, maybe you want more than $1,000 to a $1,500 system, okay? If you don't, and you're just gonna use it and plinking on the range, shooting like a box of ammo every time you go to the range, once a month at least, just to familiarize yourself with the controls and learn the ergonomics of that particular rifle, maybe a $700 system would be sufficient enough. Okay, now there are still plenty of ARs out there that are below the $999.99 range. There's plenty of them out there. Okay, stick to the common brands. I don't know if it's okay for me to mention brands here, but if it's below between $700 and $900, it's a very decent brand. Anything below that, it's a lot of trade-offs, right? When it comes to parts and durability, that you have to address. Now, you can send me a message here as soon as I publish this video, and send me a message about brands and similar products that I may have something in mind. All right? I'm just like any shooter. It's like a driver, that prefers a Ram over a Ford over a Chevy over a Ford over a Ram, a Ford over a Chevy over a Ram. All right, they all have their little quirks and biases. It's like a firearm. So my suggestion to those, to him and 4 to 6 of my other friends that had asked me the same question is, look at your shooting habits, and then if it's a common, if you're not gonna go out hunting big game, you don't need a rifle that shoots a 308 round or a Creedmoor round, right? Or if you're not into little smaller pistols that shoots 9 millimeters for PCCs, don't get a PCC. That again, that's another topic of conversation. What is a PCC? Okay, so stick with something very common. Stick with something that ammunition is abundant, and stick with something that almost everybody shoots and are familiar with. The controls, the ergonomics, how it fits, how the stance, and how you pull the trigger, stuff like that, all right? So that being said, I hope I was able to answer some of those. That particular common question I got. Now, I just don't reload, you know, I do shoot a lot. I am not an expert at shooting. I am not. Okay, I can barely hit the side of a barn or go hit the ocean from the back end of a ship, right? But I do reload. I own a few firearms. And if you guys got any questions, please, feel free. If you have any comments about this particular topic, feel free to send me a note, right? So hopefully that addressed some of the issues that you guys may have about shooting. Oh, by the way, I do real estate too. So if you're moving to any part of the country, moving in and out to any location, let me know. I work the Pacific Northwest, but if you're moving to or from in any parts of the country, I can still hook you up with an agent that I know that is productive in that local area, and just give me a call. Give me a message. Send me a message. Send me an email. Send me a text. All right, you guys take care. Enjoy the evening, and hopefully you learned something out of this video. Take care. Bye-bye.